Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Blair and Company. My name is Joshua Gammon, and today I have the amazing Oscar Johnson. Thank you for coming on the show today.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
No
Glad to be here.
problem. So today we're just going to talk about a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, what started you on your journey to cooking and culinary. We're just going to talk a little bit about Jimmy Pearls and just your journey with that, and just also what you have with future endeavors.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, like who you are, like where you're from.
Okay. So I'm originally from Hampton, Virginia. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a comedian. I love sports. That's just who I am. What I do for a living doesn't define me, entirely. But I am one half of Jimmy Pearls here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are 2024 James Beard Foundation semifinalists for Best Chef Southeast. So we're in an amazing space right now, and we're just super excited about what the future holds for us as we are in transition right now towards opening our first brick and mortar location.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about just you growing up in Hampton. What got you started? What interests you in cooking?
Well, I come from a family of great cooks. Of course, everybody has that story of mama and grandma, and got some uncles they can throw down as well. And so I was just surrounded by that, and I just knew that there was going to come time for me to make some career decisions. As much as I love basketball, it wasn't the best. It wasn't something that I was able to stay consistent with. And
What position did you play?
shooting guard.
Oh, okay.
Shooting guard. I was always like a role player, but it was one of those things that I had to be, realistic. And actually find a trade. And that's something where I come from a multi-generation of people who picked up trades. And so cooking was something that I just always loved, and something that I became really good at. So I had to stick with it.
Okay, so tell me some of your favorite dishes growing up.
Oh man, my mom's French toast. Barbecue. Virginia has a very deep, rich history, and barbecue has not been marketed the way, I'm going to skip over North Carolina. People be in their feelings when I talk about
Well, you can't skip over because I was going to say because I'm from Memphis, so we're like big on barbecue.
Okay.
So so it's a big competition when people say North Carolina barbecue. I'm like,
Right. It depends on your taste, but we have our own significant traditions. I grew up loving barbecue. Succotash, like just southern food in Virginia, anything fresh seafood. Which is why part of why we have Jimmy Pearls, and like why we are pushing what we're pushing, just like fresh, local, well thought out seafood preparations. I grew up in downtown, so I had access to a lot of fresh seafood, and thank God I don't have allergies. Because I don't know what I would do without seafood, man. So seafood is definitely one of my favorites.
So what made seafood become the draw for your focus?
It's just a full circle moment. I grew up in this industry, working in hotels and resorts and things like that. Just kind of, it was like a straight path at that point. At least I thought so, because I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me who were at the top of their game, just to my knowledge. I'm not saying that they weren't doing it, but I just was just following the path that a lot of chefs were, doing, like just trying to move up within whatever establishment that they were a part of. And so when I met Chef Greg Collier back in 2017, 18, it just opened up a whole world, a whole network of mixologists, chefs, even local farmers and growers and stuff like that. So that was such a blessing to be able to have access to those people, and that made me rethink my whole entire career, what I actually want to do and what am I trying to say with my career, with my food, and what my perspective is, and knowing how I cook. So I had to learn how I cooked, because at first I was literally just working place to place and just grinding and just working the long hours, but having that encounter with Chef Greg and Sabrina Collier was a turning point for me.
And Greg Collier and Sabrina Collier, they're like, when it comes to black restaurateurs in Charlotte, they are like the go-to people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Restaurants, period, too. We gotta continue to speak that up. It's no shame, and we're definitely unapologetically black in all these spaces, but we are the standard when it comes to all these different industries. So we are the chefs, we are the everything, what I mean? So it's hats off to them and the work that they've done.
Yes. So once you decided you knew like what type of, like, how you cooked and you decided that seafood was the go-to. What made you want to go into being an entrepreneur and making this into a business?
Just getting tired of working for people.
Yeah.
And I work with some great chefs, but just being in that space and just kind of having that creative frustration, and then also first before all of that, just finding my purpose.
Yes.
Taking my time and figuring out what my purpose was, got me to that point where I was like, okay. And seafood is just the majority of what we do.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Pearl's is Southern Foodways of the Chesapeake, which is a broad, area from like Virginia all the way up to New York, Delaware,
Yeah.
areas in between. And so really capturing the essence of the history and everything that comes from our town, that comes from the whole entire area, the waterways, like I just really love that aspect of it,
Yes.
the educational piece. So I think that's very important to get our people to understand a lot more about food beyond what they might already think they know.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to ingredients and just different myths around different traditions. And Southern food is folklore, and it's not really right or wrong. Everybody has different traditions, but I think for Jimmy Pearl's and what we want to do is really like educate our people a lot more.
I feel like that is really big, especially like, back in COVID, everybody was trying to like experiment and like try to be
Trying
like,
to come up with stuff, right?
exactly. Everybody was trying to come up with stuff, like different recipes and stuff. And I know I have looked on YouTube at a previous interview that you had did, and you had started, you was doing like the food trucks, like during the COVID. So how did that process go? Like, what was your experience with that?
So my partner Coop had the Cooking Coop food truck. I think he started that back in 2015. And so we've always had two jobs throughout this whole entire thing. And so, fast forward to him putting the food truck on the back burner for a temporary, part in time or whatever. We reconnected with the idea of pushing the food truck because we were in 7th Street Market after hours when the Uptown Yokels closed, and Sabrina Collier allowed us to do curbside service, and it was like a little prelude to what will become like a full residency in the future. So we just had to figure a way to pivot through COVID and just hit the residential areas and just kind of doing what we saw some of our brothers and sisters doing, like, with the fries, they made a huge killing during that time. And so I was like, all right, well, cool, what are you doing? Let's get this truck popping, So we did all right, during that time. We did enough to just to pivot and to be in a different space. And so we were able to do that for a little over a year, and then came right back into the market at 7th Street as official, residents.
Okay. So what made you want to choose that spot? Because I know a lot of people, when it comes to, everybody, especially here in Charlotte, like now it's like Optimus Hall, it's UDM, it's Monarch Market, and now you're starting to see like a mixture of different food halls.
Right.
So what made you choose that specific one?
So very interesting story about that. We were awarded a grant from Charlotte Center City Partners, and those are the people who operate the market along with Bank of America. And so we were on the food truck and didn't really have access to people who could get us a great deal, real estate deal on a space. And we're new guys too, so like even as we were looking for a space, we had never opened up a restaurant before. We knew that was going to be very challenging, and that our business model was just like literally stepping stone. So from being a pop-up, being on a food truck, being in a residency space, and then getting into a brick and mortar, it would make it a lot easier for those resources to come our way. So we had to use the grant money. We were coming up on a year. We hadn't done anything with it. And so we got in contact with, or someone approached us from Charlotte Center City Partners and asked how we felt about coming back to the market at 7th Street. And we weren't thrilled. We'll be fully transparent. We weren't 100% thrilled about it because of the foot traffic. It was a big challenge for us to get maximum foot traffic to the market, but it was going to be another stepping stone. It was going to be more money for us, generate more revenue than what we were doing previously. So that was the thing that really kind of got us in there. We figured, despite what we've seen in the past, this is a situation, it is what you make it type of situation. Like, so we were gonna make the most out of it, and we had that long conversation, and we were able to use that grant money to get our space open with new equipment and things like that. So it was a true stepping stone.
I just feel like 7th Street, I feel like if if you're coming from Charlotte, or if you're visiting Charlotte from a different place, 7th Street should be your first go-to. It's so many different great restaurants that's in there,
Oh yeah.
especially that's trying to like break into like a brick and mortar.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that is the place to go
That's
because
how
it's
it's
so
designed.
creative.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's how it's designed. I mean, small business incubator space. So think of it less of a food court because there's a different expectation when it comes to that. But there are small businesses that are just getting their, trying to get their businesses off the ground and having a smooth transition into a brick and mortar upon having success and driving sales and things like that. So I definitely encourage people to check out the market at 7th Street.
Yes, most definitely. And I was also going to talk about, so just like you said in the beginning, you guys were nominated or semi-finalists
Yes.
rather for the James Beard Award. So
Yes.
tell a little bit about like how prestigious that award is and like the process that it goes and how did you guys were able to be nominated?
So a lot of people say that the James Beard Foundation or the awards are like the Oscars for culinary, the hospitality industry, I would say. And so it's just been a crazy ride. I mean, I tell people all the time that we didn't have this written on a whiteboard or
Yeah.
things that we wanted to get done. I just think that Coop and I have just had our heads down for the longest time and just working and just really reiterating what it is that we're trying to do with food and through food. And we just have a dying passion for it, working 2 jobs and both of us are fathers and
Yeah.
things like that. So it was definitely challenging. And so when we got the recognition, it was just such a blessing. It was astonishing. Like it was just crazy. I got the news working, while I was working my second job and I was just, blindsided by it. But I will say that the people we were able to rub shoulders with who
Yeah.
are also a part of the foundation, people who previously won years before, who have become mentors to us, it made sense in that aspect once
Yeah.
it kind of settled down from all the excitement. But we didn't apply for it. It wasn't something that people in Charlotte or people around the world vote for.
Yeah.
There is a committee, and they visit people who they've seen, on social media, just different events that people apply to or appear at festivals,
Yes.
and wine and food festivals. It's just been a crazy ride, man. And, we fell short at the finals, but we feel good about the work that we have done up until this point. We're going to continue to push. God still has a lot of stuff in plan
Exactly.
for us, in store for us, and so I'm just super happy that we have people that we know who are our brothers and sisters who are advancing on to the finals, and so that's good.
But even for y'all just to get that recognition, it just shows that people are watching.
Oh yeah,
And people are supporting.
Yeah.
Like I've heard like nothing but great things from y'all, and
yeah.
I'm just super excited to see what's the future for y'all. So a little bit about that. So now that you guys are no longer at 7th Street Public Market, so what is the future for y'all? Like what you have planned, like moving forward?
So we are going to be opening a brick and mortar location soon. So just keep, following us on the newsletter, Instagram. Keep coming to our pop-ups. Keep on, purchasing the merchandise and everything like that. We will have an announcement for folks soon. I'm gonna just keep saying soon because the process of this is our first time going through this, and so the brick and mortar process is a lot of change. There's a lot of detours. There's a lot of hey, we gotta reimagine this or rethink this. So just know that 2024 Jimmy Pearls, we're gonna have a physical location. Food is still gonna be amazing. Service, like Coop and I still want to be approachable, be able to touch our people, and we're excited about it.
I'm excited for y'all.
Yeah,
like
appreciate
this is
that.
definitely the time. Like you guys have the spotlight on y'all, and I feel like y'all gonna just go up from here.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, so on my segment, so on Blair, Blair and Company, my focus is showcasing African American men and women that are just making moves in the city.
Okay.
So I have a segment, and it's called the Black Kings Project. And every time I do an interview, I always ask every person I'm on the show with, I ask them, what makes you considered a Black king?
Man, that's a great question.
Thank you.
What makes me a Black king is just knowing myself, knowing who I am, and just understanding my purpose and having self-fulfillment, so that way I can spread that love to other people. Just like I said in the very beginning, I'm just proud to be a husband and a father to my wife Kayla and my son Jude, and just I understand how important it is to set an example and to be, the band that holds all that together.
Exactly.
So that's what makes me a Black king.
I feel like that's perfectly said. And I feel like you guys, it's you and him, I feel like y'all are making just perfect examples, especially for Black men that are interested in going into culinary. Like you guys are like the perfect, like you guys are definitely like the blueprint for that,
For sure.
especially here in the city, because you don't know who you might be touching just through your journey. So I feel like exactly. So I'm definitely like super glad that we're able to have this conversation. For anybody that's wanting to follow you or just follow Jimmy Pearls, where can they follow you on social media?
So Instagram is Chef Oscar J. So it's Chef _ Oscar _ J. All the underscores. And then JimmyPearls.com. You can follow us, Jimmy Pearls COT, and then you'll see Chef Daryl's Instagram as well as DC Cooking. But if you go to either of those accounts, you'll definitely have access to us. But please subscribe to the newsletter. We have a newsletter that comes out each month, keeping everybody in the loop of what we have going on, and some very vital information in there. So that's where you can find us.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would like to thank you just for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. This is my first big interview back like live, because I've been doing interviews like via Zoom.
Okay.
And after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm sick of doing this Zoom.
Right.
So I'm super glad that you're my first guest. Everybody, please stay tuned. I'm definitely be posting on my Instagram just for new content and just some updates and some big announcements coming up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This is Joshua Blair, and thank you for watching Blair & Company.